Well, happy Mother's Day. We're going to start with a little prayer. This is a prayer from St. Teresa. Let nothing upset you. Let nothing frighten you. Everything is changing. God alone is changeless. Patience attains the goal. Who has God lacks nothing. God alone fills every need. Amen. So to all the moms out there here and in spirit, we send them all our love and lots of nice greetings. And I just wanted to first let you guys know kind of what's going on with me personally with my work. I work at a company called the Institute for Study Abroad. Study abroad being the key word here. There is no more study abroad. In my office, worldwide, we had about 150 people. When they are done letting people go, we will have about 45. Fortunately, I am one of the ones who survived, but also unfortunately, I had to sit in on a lot of letting people go. And so it's been really tough. Those of us who are left behind have had to take pay cuts. We still have a job for a while. No one knows if study abroad is going to be able to come back for years. My company may not survive this. So we've all been working from home. I go into the office once a week to look at the mail and hand that out. But for the most part, we meet on Teams meetings, we do Zoom meetings and that kind of stuff. And I find, although I thought I was a very upbeat person, and I think I am, I still find that at times I am sad and depressed. And a word that I never thought I'd use about myself is frightened. Sometimes I wake up frightened. Do any of you guys feel that way? Is it just me? We don't know what's going to happen next. I cry in the weirdest times. Mike came in one day and I'm crying. He said, "What's wrong?" And I said, "Wendy's is giving away free Frosties." You know? Sometimes those kinds of things just get to you. I look at little dog and cat videos on Facebook and cry because they're hugging each other, you know? We are in such a fragile place because we are in such mourning. We are in mourning for the things, our way of life that is changed. It's going to come back in some form. Of course it will. But for right now, we don't know what that will look like. We don't know when that will happen. And I find it very scary. And Spirit says to me this morning when I'm preparing for this, that in the oversoul now, in Jung's collective unconscious, there is more grief. There is more fear. There is more mourning and anger and frustration than there has ever been at any other time in history. And because we are sensitive people, we tap into that more perhaps than some other people. Out there in the ethers is all of that pain. And we feel it. And you would be silly to think that it doesn't affect you, because it does. Because you are a sentient human being and you feel, that energy affects you. Now, also in that oversoul is prayer and hope and light. But can you imagine which one is more predominant right now? And we continue to send our light and our prayers and our hope, but at the same time being aware that it's okay to be sad and to be frightened and to wonder what's going on. And you know what? We should be grateful, right? We hear that all the time. We should be grateful. And we know that intellectually. But Spirit also says this is no time for should. This is absolutely no time to hold yourself to a standard that you cannot reach. Yes, we are grateful, and yes, we can remember that, but it is time to honor what we feel. It is time to know that it is okay not to be that enlightened being all the time. In a book called Places That Scare You by Pema Chodron, she says that closing down is not a problem. Use it as a chance to go within. How many of you have had to go within lately because there's nobody else to talk to? And what do you find there? Now, are you all familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs? Well, here's a simplified drawing. Can you see it? Security, everything else. Until we feel secure, it's hard to be spiritual. Catherine Ponder, in one of her books on prosperity, says it's hard to be spiritual if you're wondering where your next meal is coming from. And so I think we have all been reduced to that place of security. And when we feel secure, when we feel positive, that's when we have the energy to send out that light and that hope. But when we do not, we get to let other people have the chance to do that. You can't give what you don't have. And I believe that it is inauthentic to deny what you feel. Your insecurities, your fears, your doubts are all a part of you. And I believe in this time when everything that we have known is gone, for the most part. Our way of life, our way of living, our way of being together has been decimated for now. How do we find a new way of being? We can't hold on to those same old expectations of ourselves as we did. Spirit said to me that in moments of heroism, heroes are not thinking about what's within themselves. They are thinking about solving the problem. And we're all really good at that. When someone comes to us with a problem, we are very good about being compassionate and about trying to help and giving our energy. But robbed of that problem, robbed of that thing to solve, the hero is left to go within himself. And that's where we are right now. We are left with ourselves. Our busy is gone. It's easy not to think about things because you have to do this and that, and you've got this reading and that appointment, and I've got to go do this and do that. It keeps us from going within. If one of the most powerful things I believe that has happened from this whole horrible situation is all of us who are forced to be with ourselves and to find out what's going on. Now there are some people, I think about those people who have kids and are at home and they're trying to homeschool and deal with everything, and I think, oh my gosh. But for many of us, it's us and a partner, us and one or two other people. Maybe it's meant to be that way. Maybe we are the ones who can find the light. Maybe this is our time to go within. Who knows? When this first happened, I had a lot of trouble sleeping. Did you guys? We started working from home on March the 13th. And I had a terrible time sleeping. And I still have terrible dreams. Friday night, remember when it was supposed to freeze? We went out and we covered all our little plants with all the sheets in the house that we could find. So I have this dream that when we wake up in the morning, all of our sheets are gone, but they are piled up by the driveway. So that's okay. That's all right. I turn around and someone has stolen our entire privacy fence. Now, it's set in cement, right? Nobody's going to steal our privacy fence. But in this dream, my privacy fence is gone, and I am so upset, and I was terrified. And a neighbor says to me, well, it was never like this until those Buddhists moved in. Buddhists stealing fences really doesn't connect. But I woke up, sometimes you wake up from a dream and you're very upset. You're still upset about it. And I started thinking about it and thinking about dream interpretation. And oftentimes your house in your dream just represents yourself. And if that's the case, if the house is myself and the privacy fence is gone, which makes my backyard secure, all of my security is gone. And it makes us feel a little bit rudderless, not knowing what's going to happen next. And I blame it all on my friend who told us all of that stuff that none of us wanted to hear, that like there will not be theater for 3 years. So anybody else having that kind of stuff going on? Yes, I see some heads nodding, yay. It's crazy, isn't it? So what are we going to do about this? We are going to survive this. But sometimes I think I'm just getting grouchy. Do you think you're getting really grouchy? Because it's like the newscasters who make six-figure incomes and still have jobs are going, we're all in this together. And we're like, yeah. See, I think I'm getting grouchy. That may be a part of my personality that some of you have already witnessed and know about me, but that I choose to deny. So what are we going to do about all of this mix of feelings? Because here we are, these big enlightened beings, right? And we're being really human. Who knew that would happen? So I think the first thing that we have to do is honor ourselves. Some days I go from that room over there and working at my computer all day to sitting over here on the couch and watching British murder shows. That is the best I can do that day. So we got to find things that bring us comfort. I don't like to listen to the news, but we do because it's important to stay informed, right? I listen to it as long as I can stand it. And then we watch British murder, which somehow gives me structure and gives me comfort. I don't know why. Other people like to have as much information as they can collect, and that's okay too. Where is that balance for you? Where is it where you have enough that you need to know and then you get crazy or you get angry? Oh, so many things to be angry about, right? So much silliness and just stuff going on in the world. We've got to disconnect from that. We've got to know when enough is enough for our good mental health. I've been working a lot in the garden, which is surprising Mike a lot because usually he has to do all the work in the garden. But we are going to have the best garden ever this year. So do a drive-by in about a month when everything is good. But some days I just knit obsessively. I just knit and knit and knit. And with the small amount of flour available in grocery stores, people must be baking like crazy. Are any of you baking? I see Maria says she's baking. And eating. A part of it, right? Eating, cooking. And there were a lot of things, I don't know about you guys, but there were a lot of things I thought I would do. I'm going to get to that later. I might have thought I would do it if I had time, right? Some of you got some of those. Don't lie to me. You do. So I think that in this time, it is important that we just honor ourselves and how we're feeling. It is okay to have your feels, like hip teenagers say, to be in your feels, to feel what you feel and acknowledge it, and don't try to ignore it. Pema Chodron says it's okay to close down. I've had too much information. I don't feel like doing anything. Use that time to go within. But you know what? Viktor Frankl also says we have to have a sense of humor about this, right? We've got to have a sense of humor about our lives. So I wanted to give you guys just a list of things that I have discovered about myself during this time of isolation and separation. I always said if I had more time, my house would be clean. Evidently, that was not true. I've learned that it is important to know what day it is, if only to track the last time you took a bath. Right? I am saving a ton of money by not using makeup. I just hope it doesn't expire before I can use it again. Hey, and you know what? I think I can probably cut my own hair because I have some scissors. Deodorant is not strictly necessary. Did you know that? You can go days without deodorant. I also found that the best time to go and buy plants is early on a weekday morning when it's cold and raining. Nobody else will be in the garden shop. Oh, here are the things I was going to do. I was going to, well, clean my house. So cute. I was going to practice the fiddle. I don't even know where it is. I was going to do yoga every day. And for about 3 days I did. And now I do it sometimes. Just an FYI, you know how Amazon started prioritizing delivery when you ordered stuff? So I ordered this little sharp thing. Candy, you may know what it is. It's this little sharp thing, very, very sharp, that you slash bread dough with when you're going to bake it because your knives aren't sharp enough. That I had to wait a month for, which now I think maybe they thought I needed a cooling off period. They thought maybe like it was a weapon. But exercise DVDs you can get right away so that you can set them over there by the TV and never use them. Isn't that nice how that works? I did get my sharp thing, and I did not use it as a weapon yet. And I thought, oh, this is going to be a wonderful time. I will learn to do feather paintings. You know, Jeremy Kaler does those sometimes. So right before Hobby Lobby closed down for good, Mike and I went over to get everything. So here's what I've done with the feathers. They're still in the package. So there you go. But I'm ready to do it whenever I stop watching British Murder. I've almost watched everything, so that'll be soon. And I'm not much on conspiracy theories, but I am beginning to suspect that something is going on with Candy Crush Soda. If you don't choose its little suggestions, I think it punishes you, and it doesn't let you win. So I am researching that theory constantly, 5 games at a time, 6 when Tanya Haas sends me another life. So I will report back to you on this idea. It's just something to think about that's going on with Candy Crush Soda. So the bottom line is we don't know where any of this is going, right? It changes from day to day. And individually, especially on our spiritual paths, we've been okay with that. Sometimes we don't know where we're going on our spiritual path. And then we say things like, oh, God will let me know, or I surrender, or Spirit will tell me. And we know that they do. And so we're okay with not knowing that individually. But when it is collectively, as a society, and as a human race, it's very scary. Where do we go? It leaves us with no firm ground to stand on. Even if we were concerned about what our next steps were on our spiritual path, we knew we could go to the movies, go to the grocery store, have a party. Those things were still there. But we have no firm ground to stand on now. Everything is changed. And we are mourning everything we have known in our lives. Don't forget, we're grieving, whether we're aware of it or not. We miss those things that we used to be able to do without thinking. We miss those plans. You know, I feel really bad for all the brides who had beautiful weddings planned. Their dream. And not only brides, but many people, all those kids who couldn't graduate. What if you had tickets to Hamilton this summer on Broadway? All of those huge disappointments that have happened. Individually, we have them. Collectively, we have them. This is an unprecedented time in our lives. And a pandemic. Did you ever imagine we would live through a pandemic? A depression, a recession, maybe. But this, it makes us have to rethink everything that we have known. And we look back with great fondness on the times that we could just get together. Maybe this is a time that will teach us to value each other more. Some of us will learn that lesson. Some of us, this is our time to learn it. Others, it is not. And we have to let them. We can only be responsible for ourselves. We can't make anybody put on a mask. We can't make anybody not act stupid. We can only do it for ourselves. And we have to be at peace with that, because you cannot let other people bring up those emotions in you that disturb your own peace. You do what you can for yourself. You do what you can to protect other people, because we are thinking rational human beings and understand how viruses are transmitted to at least some knowledge. We do what we can, and we have to let the rest go. We can take it one day at a time. That's all. Honor your feelings and be gentle with yourself. Welcome yourself as a good friend. You know, most of us speak to ourselves much more harshly than we would to anyone we care about. We need to be self-aware and know when we're going down the rabbit hole. And when you're going down the rabbit hole, you call somebody. You Zoom with somebody. You do something to help shift your focus and help to bring you out and to connect you with other people. Have the sense to know that. Get as much information as you need. If you need a lot of information, then get it. If you're like me and you can only absorb a little bit at a time, then do that. Don't overburden yourself and don't starve yourself. Find that balance. Do not set yourself up for failure by expecting that because you are a spiritualist or a metaphysician or any other enlightened being, that you won't feel the same things that people who are not spiritualists and not metaphysicians and not enlightened beings will feel. We mourn, we are depressed, we are frightened, we are frustrated. Don't expect of yourself that you won't feel those things. But be enlightened enough to know that is part of your being. And when you feel them, deal with them, honor them, because they are showing you a path. They are showing you a part of yourself that you need to know. We need to know our shadow if we are truly going to be light. And when you are feeling hopeful, and when you are feeling grateful And when you are feeling the light, then you send that out with all of your power and might and intent and love. And that's how we'll get through this. That's how we'll get through this together.